Hey everyone, this is Kaizouwar here, and I kind of wanted to just take a step back and talk about something that was pretty huge in my childhood, and that was the Super Nintendo, or the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or the SNES as people want to call it. It was the very first console that I ever owned, because it was a console that my older brother had. My older brother is about 16 years ahead of me in age. He's in his 40s now, which is crazy. And he gave me his Super Nintendo. It was him, he got his when he was younger, so he handed mine to me when I was like 4. I loved playing that thing. I think the very first video game I've ever touched in the thing was Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World. Specifically that version, not the original All-Stars, but the Plus World version. And I loved playing my Super Nintendo. Honestly, there was a time in my life where I was always on that thing. Mario was an obsession with me back in the day, because honestly, it blows my mind that they were able to remake technically 4 games and mix it with Mario World to put it on one cartridge. I never had those kind of pack games before, where you just have like a compilation game. I never had that kind of thing before when I was younger. That literally Mario All-Stars plus World was the first one I've ever had. Hell, I didn't even know an NES existed back in the day. I was like 4 years old, man. And my brother gave me the console, and then I played it a lot. I mostly had to stick to my living room to play it because, I didn't have a TV in my room yet. And then once my little brother was born, I think he was born about 2 years later because he has a 6-year gap for me. I was able to put it in my room and play it there. I just remember my childhood room. It's like crazy. Like I used to play a lot in my room, where I used to always want to be a restaurant owner. I had like a Scooby-Doo toy that had a burger already in its mouth. And I think my grandma got me that toy. And so I ripped the burger out of its mouth and made sure that both the burger and the toy weren't intact. And that burger would be like my main meal I would serve at that restaurant, along with like toy slices of fruit and stuff like that. It was a silly time. It was really a silly time. And I played that SNES a lot. I had like a bunch of different games for it. I had NBA Live 96. I don't know, I think I got that from my brother. And NBA Live 96 was a game I played a lot with my younger brother. I wanted to play with my dad, but he got drunk one day and fell asleep during the game, so I'm like, oh. There was another game I played called Road Riot for WD. I played it on my channel like a while ago. It was not as good as I remember it being, but, sometimes nostalgia just doesn't, work in the current day. I play it for nostalgia's sake. I was like, oh god, this game is terrible. I had plenty of other games. I had Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I had Mortal Kombat 2. I had a crusty platform I can't remember the name off of, and stuff like that. And it was pretty fun. Playing the SNES was really fun. I remember having all my games stacked up, like always near the console, because I never had a shelf to put the games on. I did have shelves, but I never put them anywhere. I also have drawers, but I didn't like putting the games in there because I was too lazy to open the damn drawer and take a game out. Then when I was done playing it, put it back in the drawer. That wasn't me. I hated doing that. So what I did, I just put all the games, I stacked them next to the console, or just put them all in a pile. I'm amazed I hadn't broken any single game, really. Because I haven't broken a single one of my games. I'm amazed that none of them have broken ever since I had them. And it was a pretty crazy time just having that SNES in my room. And I think once I hit middle school, I lost the SNES. I think I put it in the storage, and once I don't know what happened to it, honestly. But yeah, I remember playing Mario World, Mario All-Stars plus World a lot. Like, that was the main game I played back in the day, because I loved playing mostly Mario 3 and Mario World in the thing, because Mario 1 was a game I never jived with. I never even, beat the original SNES version back in the day. Though, when I did get the original NES version, my little brother got lucky, and get the 99 lives exploit to work. So we just figured, you know what, should we get the 99 lives already? We might as well just beat the game, because in the SNES version, if you lose the game, you get a game over. You just start at the earliest level. Like if you died in 2-4, you end up at 2-1. But if you died in the NES version of Mario 1, then you just freaking start over again. So yeah, and then we went back and beat the SNES version. And then there was Super Mario Bros. 2, or the Doki Doki Panic version of Super Mario Bros. And I never actually beat that game. I think to this day, I still haven't beaten that game. I want to say I have, but I don't think I have. And I played that game a lot, but I never really got any further than like World 6. Yeah, I never got any further with World 6 because I think it was like a desert world. No, it wasn't desert world. It was something. I think it was like a. Damn, it's been so long. But the point is, I think I made it all the way to World 6 with Super Mario Bros. 2 and just never did it. And then there was Mario, the Lost Levels, which is the original, like the real Mario Bros. Real Mario Bros. 2. And that game was way too hard. It's still too hard. And I ain't beaten that game ever, and I don't plan on doing it. Like, there would have to be a miracle to happen in order for me to beat the Lost Levels. Can't do it, dude. Too much for me. And there's also Mario Bros. 3, which I think is my favorite game out of the set. I've always loved playing Mario 3. The game just had this charm to it. The music was always my favorite. The way the characters looked, the amount of power-ups was insane for my little mind back in the day. Like, hell, like trying to go through the process of getting like the Hammer Brothers suit in World 6, that was something I always wanted to remember, because like the level you had to get it in was like really complicated, because you had to go through like a certain way in the level in order to get the Mushroom House in order to get the Hammer Brothers suit. And I thought that was always a crazy moment in my life, because I was like, man, I finally got it. I finally got the damn Hammer Brothers suit. And it was wacky. It was really wacky. And I love the Tanuki suit too. And I also love the Raccoon suit, which is just a better Tanuki suit. And you can just transform into a statue to avoid being detected. I've always liked that. It was Mario Bros. Like, plus Mario Bros. 3 always had my favorite levels. Like, I loved World 4, where it's just like a giant, everything was giant. Like, turtles were giant, pipes were giant, blocks were giant. Like, I love the big world. I love that one. I think it's still my favorite world in Mario, because like I just like the idea of just like, having all these characters you've been going to the game with just bloated out into huge size. I don't know. I've always liked that. But yeah, Mario Bros. 3 has always been my favorite. And then there was also Mario World, which I didn't really appreciate Mario World as a child, because my older brother would always want to play Mario World. Every time. He would not want to play anything else but Mario World. And I think that's what turned me off from the experience. Because I didn't want to play Mario World all the time. I wanted to play Mario Bros. 3, but my brother would never want to play with Mario Bros. 3. I was like, damn. It's like, why can't I play Mario World? There was this moment back, God, what was it? I think it was 5, because this was before my younger brother was born. And I remember me and my older brother, we went to one of our cousins' houses, and I think it was like around 6 o'clock at night, and everyone was going, partying off, talking to each other, et cetera, et cetera. And then me and my older brother, we went off to a room to play the game, play Mario World, and it took us like all night. I think it took us till the sun came up to finish the game, because I was never very good at Mario World. I sucked at it. I couldn't even fly with the cape. It took me years to learn how to freaking figure out how to fly with the damn cape. And yeah, it was, I don't know why. That was always an experience in my life that I'll never forget. Like, every time I think about the moments I spent with my older brother, that's one moment I go to, because I never really spend time with him anymore. Like, he's off doing his own thing. We don't really have any interest outline with each other anymore. It's just, times have moved on. But that's always a moment I'll never forget. I was like 5. That was like 19 years ago as of this video. Like, that was 19 years ago. And I never got that memory out of my head. I'll never forget that memory, because that was like one of the only few times I ever spent time with my brother. We also tried to replicate that again when we played New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii. It was a fun time playing that game too, but it just wasn't the same, Like, I don't know. But Mario World is a game I appreciate now, because Mario World was a damn good game, and I really wish that I actually, saw it more, because Mario World is actually a very good platformer. It looks amazing. Its graphics are held up perfectly fine. The music still sounds great. The gameplay is snappy, and the level design is actually insanely genius. Plus, it has like 96 exits, which is insane. Mario World was a game I really wish I appreciated more, but now as I'm an adult and I see how good the game is, I really appreciate it for what it is. Like, even Mario Bros. 3 has some kind of jank, in my personal opinion, but Mario Bros. Was always a good, solid platform series. But Mario World was all, like the pinnacle. Like, even to this day, it's still one of the best games, one of the best platformers ever made. I like Mario Bros. 3 more, but Mario World it still holds up amazingly well. It's crazy. But yeah, those are like reasons I loved playing my SNES, because I could just boot up those old games and enjoy them again. You know, Mario World was a game I really wish I gave a bigger appreciation for. And other games for my SNES, I remember a moment where I didn't want to play Mortal Kombat 2 because all the creepy sound effects and everybody was creepy, and it was kind of funny thinking about how much the game creeped me out back in the day, because I think there was like a level where like the trees were had like evil ghoulish faces on them. And I remember all the blood and violence and people dying in the game. That kind of freaked me out. That kind of freaked me out when I was a kid, and I didn't like playing it. And I was like, oof, that's, I didn't want to touch Mortal Kombat 2. So I mostly stuck, if I wanted to play a fighting game, I mostly stuck to Street Fighter 2. And Street Fighter 2 was the game I just didn't know how to play really well, because, back then when you were a kid, you're like 5, you just press buttons and hopefully things happen. I didn't know shit about directional inputs until I started playing like Fatal Fury years later. But I remember one moment that I visited my older brother's house, and this was like, oh God, I think I was like, God, what was I? I was like 8, 9, I think. Because my little brother had to have been like, no, my little brother had to have been like 4. So I was 10, I think. And I went to my older brother's house, and we were dead set on trying to beat Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And for the life of us, we sucked. We didn't know what to do. Like, we kept trying to beat the arcade mode because we wanted to beat M. Bison. We wanted to just beat M. Bison so we can finish. And again, we started at like, I think 1 a.m. and it took us to like 7 a.m. to actually beat M. Bison, because we just kept losing. We kept passing off the controller to each other. We kept trying to get things done. We just couldn't do it. We had to stay up all night by drinking soda, eating chips and stuff, just to keep ourselves awake in order to beat M. Bison. When the sun rose, just like with Mario World, we finally managed to beat him. I think it's so weird. I think it's so weird that we had to go through all that just to beat M. Bison. Like, I think I could beat him now playing the game, but like, I don't know. It was just a crazy time back in the day. Just be able to do shit like that, You can't really do much of that stuff. You can't really do much of that stuff anyway, because people are all busy doing their own things in their lives. Can't really capture that childhood magic anymore. But I really did like playing those games. I'm trying to think of another game. I know, Donkey Kong Country, right? Donkey Kong Country, I remember one specific moment in my life where my mom, my dad, and my older brother, they were out, I think they were like partying in the house, drinking, whatever. And I was little, I was just sitting around playing Donkey Kong Country. My older brother had this big ass box TV, and I wanted to beat the game. I was in the dark just playing the game, but my mom and dad and my older brother, they wouldn't shut up. They were just they were so loud, and I was just like, man, I just want to beat this game already. So I made it to Grimlock, I think Grimlock Industries, that level, that overworld level, before I just gave up. Because I spent most of the time trying to get past Minecart Madness. Honestly, Minecart Madness was a huge roadblock for me and my little brother as kids. And Minecart Madness it's a level I'll never forget. And even when I play the game today, it sucks so bad. I hate that level, man. It's the amount of precision and jank that can still happen on that level is insane. That level definitely was play tested. Like half the time it requires someone to play test a level. But I still like Donkey Kong Country. I think out of all the 3 country games, I think the first one's still my favorite. And, I had a lot of memories with it. I never grew up with 2 or 3. I never had Dixie Kong or, Donkey Kong Jr. I never had those growing up, at least. But Donkey Kong Country was always one of my favorite games. Plus, me and my little brother played it quite often because it had like a tag team system. Like, if you die as Diddy Kong, the second player can tag in as another character. I've always liked that. Back in the day, I always think, man, I wonder what would happen if Mario had this kind of thing, Like, if Mario Brothers had like a tag team system until like, that didn't happen until like new Super Mario Brothers for the Wii came out. We could play as 4 players, but we mostly play as 2 players because it's just me and my little brother. There was a time we played 3 players. That was me and my older brother and my little one, and he had a Wii of his own, and then we played New Super Mario Bros. That way. But yeah, my SNES carried me throughout a lot of my childhood, and it feels longer. Like, I feel like I had it longer than I did, because I only had it like I was like in early middle school, so I was about, no, late middle school. I was about 12, not late middle school, my bad. God, I think I was like 12 when I lost it. Yeah, I think I was about 12. And it doesn't feel right, you know? Like, I've only had it for like 8 years, but yet it feels like I've had it so long. Like, the only things I did outside of playing my SNES was, I drew comics. I used to try to draw comics. I didn't have at the time I drew those comics, I didn't have a little brother. And I used to make stories about, man, I wish I had these two brothers, and they would go off on adventures with each other. And I thought, man, I want a brother. I asked my mom, and I was like, hey, Mom, can a stork come here? Like, how much money do I gotta pay for the stork to give me a brother? And funny enough, she got pregnant a year later, so I was like, yeah, I got a brother, let's go. But yeah, and I also read a lot of books. I had a bunch of comics too, like a bunch of DC and Marvel comics. I was really into superheroes back in the day, but hell, I wish I had those comics now. You know, I wish I had those comics now, because shit, I want to know if they would be worth something if I had them. You know, granted, they definitely weren't in mint condition or anything, so I guess their value would mean nothing. What else? Oh yeah, I also read like a bunch of space books. I always wanted to be an astronaut too. Apparently, I wanted to own a restaurant. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be a comic book artist. I wanted to be a video game designer. I wanted to be so many things back in the day. And yeah, I loved that SNES, really. It was, we played that SNES so much, the controllers got worn down. Now, granted, it was for my older brother, but the game was actually always in mint condition. Like, you know, like it's like my older brother didn't play as much as himself, because my mom told me he had an NES that he played to death. And we gave him the SNES. He actually played pretty fine. He didn't start messing up until me and my younger brother started playing it. We just played that shit to death, man. Because back then, that was the only console we really had. I didn't get like a Nintendo 64 until way after, and that stopped working. And I didn't get a PlayStation 1 until after that, and that didn't stop working. I really didn't have any games for my PlayStation 1 that I actually played often. Like, I had a couple of racing games. I did have Final Fantasy 7, but I lost a disc to it. I lost a disc to it, so that was pretty much, I was going to beat that game. God, what else? There was also like a Inspector Gadget game. There was a Star Wars game which it had 4 discs for, which was insane. I didn't know how like a bunch of those discs worked, so I was like, why do I have 4 discs for this one game? Because I just used the cartridges and shit. And yeah, like, I think that my SNES, like, it was just gonna be on its way out, because I remember trying to put cartridges in for like All Stars, and it just didn't work. Like, sometimes I would save that, I would just get deleted, and I was like, at the time I was like, okay, I'll just play the game again, because I was going to do that anyway. But I think it was the game just telling us, yeah, it was going on its way out. The thing was old. I mean, the SNES was old. My freaking my older brother had it, and I don't know if he got it on launch or anything. But yeah. Oh yeah, Star Fox was another game I played a lot. I didn't enjoy it early. I didn't like playing Star Fox, but I did rented it a couple times. And then I bought it for myself and just didn't play it. Like, I had a ton of other games for my SNES. I also had, I think I had Earthbound for a while. I rented Earthbound, but I didn't play that much either, you know. I also rented Final Fantasy 2, which was actually Final Fantasy 4. I rented that a couple times. I never got a chance to beat it. I think I made it like I think I didn't make it halfway through the game. I think I made it to like one of the airship levels, where you confront Golbez for the first time. And then I just kind of, I never really got past that, because freaking JRPGs just flew over my head. I hated playing JRPGs back in the day. My patience wasn't good until I started getting into Pokemon. That's when my patience for JRPGs, or what little ones I played, weren't, like, you know, they weren't there. But yeah, I really missed my SNES. You know, it's like one of those things I wish I can get back. I feel like if I had my SNES these days, it wouldn't be the same, you know? Like, I feel like I still have to be a kid again, because, you know, when you're an adult, things just feel so different from when you're a child. When you're a child, you have all the time in the world just to bull crap around and play games. I mean, hell, you could do that as an adult depending on your profession, but it just ain't the same. But yeah, that's why I wanted to share a small little history about me and my Super Nintendo. I love that thing. That was my very first console, and I'll never forget it. Hell, I even bragged about how many games I had, because funny enough, all my cousins on my mom's side and on my dad's side, mostly on my mom's side, for some reason everybody had a SNES, right? There was my aunt Janet, and she had 3 daughters, and they also had a SNES, but they had like this newer version of the SNES where the system looked kind of weird. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. They never let me play it though. They would never let me play it. I wanted to play Mario World because they had like a Because it was weird. They had like a singular copy of Mario World. And back in the day, I didn't even know Mario World was a game by itself. Because I've only played Mario World through the All-Stars expansion. Like the All-Stars expansion. I keep saying expansion pack, my bad. The All-Stars collection. And so I didn't know Mario World was its own game. And so when they had it, I was like, oh, can I play Mario World? And they were like, no, you're not playing Mario World. I was like, okay, can I play your Game Boys? Because they were obsessed with Pokemon. And they told me no. They would let me play on occasion, but they wouldn't say, okay, you can't delete our files. You can't start anything new. Just play what you got. And I was like, ugh. So I actually wanted my own damn Game Boy so I could play Pokemon. Funny enough, the first game I got from my Game Boy was a tennis game that my dad got from my pawn shop, which I still remember that game. It was a Tiger Woods game. I played it to death, though, because that was the only game I had back then until I got Super Mario Land. Then I think a Bionic Commando game? I think it was a Bionic Commando I got next. It's vague of what it is. I remember what the game looked like, but I don't know if it was Bionic Commando or what. And then I got Pokemon Blue, I think. I got Pokemon Blue because everyone had Pokemon Red. And I was like, F that. And then, yeah, those are, yeah. But anyway, that was it, guys. I didn't want to go on too long. Just wanted to share a little bit of my history. So yeah, see you all next time. I hope you all have a great day. And hell, if y'all got an experience with your very first console, hit them down in the comments below. I'd definitely like to hear your stories. I'd love to hear about people's childhoods and stuff like that. Because I like to hear how they got into video games and how they, came up to being influenced and inspired by video gaming. So without further ado, I'm out. Peace, everyone, and I hope you all have a great day.